Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to this very special video. We're going to start asking the question, what now? Because after every show, we can ask the question, what now? Because there's always new feuds, there's always new factions, there's always breaking up of tag teams. And we did get quite a few things on this week's Smackdown that will make us ask the question, what now? One of those things we're going to dig into, and that is The Miz moving to Smackdown. So Kelly the Wise Lady said, I share your thoughts about not getting all wrapped up in when we're going to see the Wyatts. I'll just see them when I see them. However, I just want to point out Nick Aldis told The Miz he needed to find new friends and he better do it quickly. And that is true, and a really good point. I think there's two reasons as to why he might have done that. One is to troll The Miz. He knows The Miz is scared of the Wyatt Sicks. He knows that The Miz is in a situation now where he had the Wyatt Sicks moved to SmackDown, and now he has been moved to SmackDown. So it could be banter, it could be trolling, it could be one of those, I wouldn't want to be in your shoes type comments, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that he is in the firing line. I would imagine he is. I would imagine that they are interested in coming after The Miz. But now there's a lot of new targets for the Wyatt Sicks. And so, you know, are they going to continue with The Miz? Or is The Miz just not worth their time, right? Is it a case that The Miz is a lost cause? They're never going to be able to change him. And so is it more constructive for the Wyatt Sicks to actually turn their attention to someone else? So I still think there's a chance that the Wyatt Sicks go in a different direction, but Miz has got to be right up there in the running, doesn't he, right? Considering everything that's gone down between him and Bo and everything recently as well. So the second reason that Nick Aldis may have said it is because he knows the Wyatt Sicks are coming for The Miz, and he knows that The Miz better act fast. So that new friends line, I agree, very interesting. Does it set us up for where we're going, right? Hence the question, what now, right? So could it be that he goes and works with the Bloodline? I do struggle with this, mainly because it's hard to see The Miz with Tama Tonga and with Solo and with Jacob. Like, it just doesn't fit very well. It just doesn't feel right. The vibe of that group, I just don't know how it would work. I mean, we've seen The Miz being kind of the odd man out when he was with the Final Testament. Like, he was being intimidated, he was being threatened, he didn't feel comfortable. I don't know if we want to do that again, because, like, that's exactly the dynamic that it would be here as well. Plus, also, with this group, they don't have a female. Like, at least with Final Testament, we had Scarlett. Who are we going to get for this group to kind of deal with Nikki Cross? Like, we're going to need to bring a female in. And I know that you might say Nia, but that, I don't know if that works. I mean, Nia and Nikki are two very extremes. So I don't know if that feels right. We could say Naomi, but Naomi is not a heel at the moment, and she might be about to turn heel. But if she is about to turn heel, I've got to think that's because of Jade's, and it might be revealed it was Naomi that attacked Jade's, and then surely that means Naomi is busy. So I'm struggling with this a little bit. It doesn't feel quite right. The vibe doesn't feel right. I don't know what female we would bring in to deal with Nikki. So this just doesn't seem to work for me. I'm just struggling with this one. So I really don't know if we see the Wyatt Sicks at Saturday night's main event. There was a theory that it was going to be Wyatt Sicks against Bloodline next. And that could still happen. But how would The Miz fit into this? Is he just going to be caught in the middle again? And as we said, who would the female be? So, yeah, I'm not too sure on that one, right? Karrion had a few words to say following SmackDown, right? He said, I wanted my final showdown. That should not have been taken away from me. That's all I have to say. And I do think there's a couple of things happening here. I think, first of all, the character wanted that final showdown because I think the character wanted to get the win and show the world that he's better than the Wyatt Sicks, right? But I think the man right, wanted it as well, because we know he was very close to Bray. And I think actually the Ultimate Showdown, Final Showdown, I think it would have ended with the Wyatt Sicks emerging victorious. And I think he would have wanted to have done that for his friend. I think the man behind the character would have wanted to have put the Wyatt Sicks over to help them, because in a roundabout way, he would be helping his old friend that's no longer with us. So I genuinely believe this on the character level and the person behind the character as well. Right. Karrion also said, though, I knew he was lying to me, referring to The Miz. This is the moment. He thought he was just visiting. Turns out he was here permanently on SmackDown. So welcome to SmackDown, Mike The Miz. Looks like The Miz won't be escaping the Wyatt Sicks anytime soon. That from WWE 7 hours ago, right? Obviously that coming from the official account. Karrion said yes. How did that happen? One would wonder. Enjoy, right? So we know why Karrion did it. He did it because he was cheated out of his Final Showdown. Miz had the group moved, and now The Miz has been moved, right? But who is gonna help The Miz, right? Well, this is one group that could do it. We've got a female in Elektra Lopez, and we've got some very good talent there. I don't think The Miz would be as intimidated in this group as he was with the Final Testament. The only thing I would say, I really don't know if this group is heels or faces. It doesn't really matter, because we can always turn them heels if they are leaning to be in faces. But I really don't know at the moment where they are. I don't know if they are heels or faces. So I think there is potential for this to be the group that he turns to. We actually don't have loads of options on SmackDown. We sort of need a faction. We need a team. They ideally need to have a female with them, and they need to be heels, because there's no way the Wyatt Sicks are going to be heels in this story. So Legado del Fantasma is an option. I think the better alternative, right, is this. Yeah, DIY and Candice LeRae. Now, you put The Miz with these guys, you've got 3 guys and a girl. And I know the Wyatt Sicks would still outnumber. We could maybe bring someone else into this group, maybe someone up from NXT, or someone that's not attached to like any other faction. So we could add someone in here. But as a starting point, I think this works. And why this really works is Dexter Lumis's backstory. Dexter Lumis was obviously married to Indy Hartwell, and he was really in with Johnny and Candice, and they all used to hang out, and we never heard why that went wrong. We never found out how that relationship broke down. We really need to dig into that. That is a whole story that has got to be told. Why did it go wrong for Dexter Lumis? How did his marriage break down? Why was he shunned by these guys? So actually, for Lumis, this makes a lot of sense. And actually, Miz has worked with Tommaso. They've been kind of partners in the past. So, like, we could easily bring that back. So, yeah, this to me would make sense. Candice is obviously with Nia at the moment, though. So I'm not sure how available she would be. We would need her for, obviously, being the female, so that Nikki Cross has got a female to feud with. But yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. That would be my favoured direction. Or if we want a real curveball, we can go metaphor, because I feel like Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson are very, very close to being called up. They've actually been used on the main roster a couple of times already. They've actually got a women's tag title match coming up very, very soon. And so I feel like WWE really like that partnership. I think they really like Jakara and Lash. Now, Noam Dar is someone that's been around the system years and years and years and years. No problem calling up Noam Dar. He's been out with injury for quite a long time. Oro Mensah is very much an unknown. We don't actually get a chance to see him all that often. But, you know, we could take a chance there, or maybe take him out of the group if WWE aren't too sure. But I feel like Jakara, Lash, certainly Noam Dar, they could come up, and it feels like they're in the mix. They could come up and they could work with The Miz. So there's a few options. Obviously, we could also have some people moved over from Raw. Like, we don't know if Judgment Day might come over, for example. That would change everything if that was to happen. So, you know, there's a few ways forwards. I still don't know which way the Wyatt Sicks are going to go, who they're going to feud with. We obviously don't know when they're going to come back. I have said in videos, I'm just going to wait for them to come back rather than putting pressure onto that situation. But it's exciting. I am feeling excited again. All of a sudden, there are potential green shoots that we can see for the Wyatt Sicks. There are some stories that are starting to emerge, and the future is looking a little bit brighter. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Appreciate the support as always, and I will see you later for Saturday night's main event.